I just wondered if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I think I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. And you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I really appreciate it, and I really appreciate that. Lewis was certainly amazing.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show fan page on Martin Houston Live on Facebook, at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. It's a beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. It's the Monday after the first Alabama scrimmage, and we're breaking things down. So I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904, 205-342-9902. The Taco Casa hotline is open for business. Come on in and join us right now. And love to have you as part of the conversation. And remember that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone. Be the difference you want to see in the world today. Definitely a lot of conversation to get to. So I want to invite you to get in on that conversation, get your review from the weekend, what you felt were the takeaways, the breakout players, who took steps forward. So just ready to get you in on the conversation any where we can. So add your thoughts on the chat box, or once again, call us at 205-342-9904, the Taco Casa hotline, open for business. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
Oh, doing great today, Martin. It's officially football week here at Tide. We got high school football is kicking off this week, so it's a big week getting started with this Monday morning.
Yeah, absolutely. High school football. I'm working with Northridge again, so we take on Sipsey Valley. So looking forward to it, and I get the distinct privilege of coaching the running backs, and I kind of probably have at the high school level, I probably feel a little bit like the coaches over at Alabama in the past few years in the running back room. I have 3 guys that without a doubt that probably all could play at some level of D1 football. And the one that I say that's a starter right now probably has more heart than any player that I've ever coached. I've been around the kid, young man. Eric Street has a heart out of this world, but then you got PJ Hall, who probably has as much natural talent as any running back I've ever been around. And then we have Biggie or Torian Spears, who is new to the program. All 3 of those guys, Joe, kind of remind me of the Alabama running back room. You have to choose one of the guys to start, but then the rest of the game, you're trying to figure out how do I make sure I get all these guys touches. So, and speaking of that, that's what happened with Alabama Saturday. They got some players, they got playmakers at every level. Offensive. This may be a young offensive team, but man, is it talented? Is it talented without a doubt? Coach Saban and Bill O'Brien needing to their biggest problem going to be how do they keep everybody happy versus looking for players to get in the game. So, and we'll hear what Coach Saban had to say here in a moment. But just a couple quick highlights, and then we'll dig down. Want to hear from you today, Bama fans, from your takeaways. What was your takeaway with from the scrimmage? What you hearing coming out of the scrimmage? You know, did Bryce Young live up to the hype? Did the defense step up like we expected? Who are the breakout players? Was there a flash of some freshmen that are going to get some playing time? We may have lost 2 number 1 wide receivers, but are we better overall position to position at that spot than we were potentially last year? Do we have more depth there? It's just crazy to think. Is Cameron Latou ready to step up and be a big time player? And you just never know when one guy's going to be a guy's target. So there's a lot of conversation to be had there. Joe, do you have Coach Saban's opening comments opening comments and review of the scrimmage?
Yeah,
Let's.
just the opening comments. They're ready.
Yes, okay.
Him and his next comments on Bill O'Brien. So we're working through his press conference. You want to hear the very beginning of it?
Yeah, yes, sir. Let's get that fired up and let people hear what the greatest coach in the land had to say post Alabama's first scrimmage.
I would say that for first scrimmage, there was a lot of good hitting out there. I think it was obviously a difficult circumstance. This has been a difficult week. I think, in some ways, because of the new rules we have to protect players, saying all that to say this, I think, the opportunity to self-assess where they are, what they have to do to get better. There was a lot of good things out there, and there was a lot of mistakes, but that's probably, what you expect in the first scrimmage, especially for young players. We did have some of the young players who, made some plays out there today, which I think is, a real positive for them. And, we really haven't tried to establish, depth charts, and I know that who responds the best in difficult circumstances. I mean,
I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 74 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at sophmartdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Back in with the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Sorry about that. Those who are listening on social media outlets had a power surge that kicked everything out, but I think most of us were able to stay tuned and connected. So we're back in full power as we speak. So hopefully won't have any more issues. Thank you so much for being a part of the Martin Houston Show. And remember, Taco Casa quality, taste, value on the biggest cactus in town. Go check them out for lunch and or dinner. They're the ones who keep us live and local and on the airwaves. They're a great choice for lunch and or dinner, so go check them out. That's Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. Joe, what was your biggest takeaway from the scrimmage on Saturday?
Oh, Martin, I don't. Okay, so full disclosure, I watched the Nick Saban press conference. I listened to it and all that jazz. And it's hard to take anything away from a scrimmage that you're not invited to, that you don't get to see. So really, just from his post scrimmage comments, it sounded like Bryce Young's. It sounded like the offense didn't help Bryce Young as much as maybe Nick Saban would have liked. And then to have Kendall Randolph sprain his ankle, it's not really that good. Considering he's competing for a starting position on that offensive line, but it sounds like it sounds like maybe the team's physicality isn't quite where Coach Saban wants to be. Maybe their attention to detail isn't quite where he wants it to be, considering all the days of practice in a row that they had. But it sounds like they're on track.
Yeah, I definitely feel like the offense is on track, and I think Bryce Young played at a from, of course, as you say, when you're only taking it from sources and other places and comments from individuals that were there, then you take each and every thought with a grain of salt and a little bit of bias worked into it, but. That's kind of what you have to do until you get to see it with live and your own personal eyes. And so that was a couple things that was an interesting statement that Nick Saban made in regards to the offense. Need the other guys playing better around Bryce Young. The thing for me that I would take away from his opening comments, number one, is that he's frustrated with this lack of prep and practice. He says we do it to help the players, Joe, but it really doesn't prepare them to be ready to scrimmage. And what he's talking about is, without saying it, is the lack of two-a-days. By this point, typically, instead of having 5 or 6 practices, you'd have 8, 9, 10 practices based on how you stacked your two-a-days since Alabama reported. And you're able to put in so much more, and guys, you're able to give a break and take a day off, but you're able to get a lot more stuff put in and help the body. So I think that was part of his frustration when he says, considering the circumstances, that they were not ready to scrimmage like they normally would be, and that's a frustration from the lack of two-a-days, and he understands that they say they do it to help the players, but in reality, it doesn't always do that. Curtis Moore, the second, making a comment from the scrimmage. Bryce Young dropped 3 TDs on that highly talented Alabama defensive unit. That's all I need to know about my trust in Bryce, even though folks are skeptical because he hasn't started a game. All I got to say is but in Bryce Young, we trust. I'm sold. LOL. So Bryce Young did have a big day. So let's talk a little bit about a couple takeaways. Bryce Young played well. He had 3 touchdowns. Joe, but this is one of those things where you have to also recognize what 3 touchdowns means, right? He had 2 in the regular scrimmage, and one of them once again to Cameron Latou, and then he threw one to JoJo Early, and so we'll see what that means, and then you have to look at that. The 3rd touchdown was during a 2-minute drill, and you don't know if that started off at the 5-10 wherever it was in the scrimmage, but either way, got the team to the touchdown. I mean, to the end zone through the air 3 different times, and that 3rd score was to Trey Sanders. But just talking about the Alabama quarterback room, my concern is not just Bryce Young. Bryce Young showed in the spring game that he may have what it takes, but of interest, of course, has to be what if Bryce takes a hit? What if Bryce comes out? Does this team's national championship hope squarely ride and lie on a completely healthy Bryce Young, or can one of the other guys come along and be that guy if Bryce Young were to go down? I don't think we have any question about the tenacity of Bryce Young, his accuracy, his precision, his leadership, his willingness to study the game. But did we see anything else from the other quarterbacks on Saturday? And reports coming out, Paul Tyson had a good showing in terms of the scrimmage, and that's what you want to see more than anything. You want to see if these backups are able to play at a high level. And Paul Tyson, redshirt freshman, did complete a 66-yard touchdown to Bale, and so that was a good opportunity there to see him. And then, of course, we know that we're looking for Jalen Milroe to keep getting better. I think Jalen Milroe, from what I've heard, Joe, Jalen Milroe is going to find himself in some way on the field in something. They say that he is potentially the most athletic guy on the team, and you'll find and see if that's the case how hard it will be to keep that young man off the field in some capacity. So we'll check to see if Jalen Milroe can make his way into the rotation or some type of package. I just think that with the creativity of offenses today and as much rep and time as these guys get, then you're gonna see him out there. And if Bryce Young goes down, and I think you very well may see some combination of it. But how big of a deal, Joe, is it? We know what we have in Jaleel Billingsley, meaning what type of receiver and athlete he is at the tight end position. How big of a deal is it if Cameron Latou, his continuation from the spring, when you saw it in the spring, you're like, okay, maybe that's just coincidence, but but having a 59-yard catch and a 13-yard touchdown, and how big of a deal is it that Cameron Latou is playing at this level? If this is legit and you have that type of weaponry at the tight end position in the passing game.
We remember, we think back to when the Patriots were very effective with Rob Gronkowski and Aaron Hernandez.
Yes.
Kind of around the Bill O'Brien time. I believe that's around his timeline with Patriots. And if you're going to give him two premier weapons right there at the middle, I think that it just shows how indefensible this Alabama offense has been over the last 2 or 3 years. Each year in a little bit of a different way. But if that's this year's way, is to be deadly with the tight ends over the middle, I think that falls right in line with the expectations we have for this Alabama offense.
Wouldn't that be crazy for Alabama with all of the weapons we've had on the offensive side of the ball, running back, quarterback. I mean, not quarterback, but running back, wide receiver, and then all of a sudden this year, they fool around and get a first rounder at tight end in Cameron. I mean, in Jaleel Billingsley. But if Cameron Latou continues to progress, he's not going to make it easy for Billingsley. And Billingsley is going to have to pay attention to detail, or this young man is going to strike him. Another takeaway outside of the quarterback play in the quarterback room for me was the Kendall Randolph injury. Fortunately, they said he walked off under his own power, so not significant of an injury, but significant in what Kendall Randolph is doing. You almost, Joe, do you feel bad for him? You feel good for him that he's in there, but he's such a jack of all trades. Will he be able to settle into one spot and be the starter, or is he going to be that, Swiss Army knife, jack of all trade type of guy who ends up graduating from here and never really having his own position? Because literally the guy, Saban actually mistakenly said he could play center, and then he said, well, he can play center, but he can't. He hadn't played center, but he probably could. But he's a guard, he's a tackle, he's tight end, and from every account, he seems to be playing effectively as the starting right tackle. And when you think about all of the guys that we have for options, he's like the guy you're like, really? But he may end up being that guy at right tackle. And so significance in terms of his injury taking him out, but they said it was not a significant injury, Joe. But when you look at what that does, I guess if you're gonna have an opportunity for some guys to step up, this would be a great time. And another guy a couple guys that seems to be battling it out for that right tackle position is J.C. Latham and Pierce Quick. Seem to be the guys in that rotation for that right tackle position. Both of those guys are long, lean guys, and Pierce Quick is. I'm gonna ask this question, then come back to it. Joe, do you think the local Alabama kids sometimes get overlooked because they're local Alabama kids, and we don't put as much stock in them as we do some of these big time guys that come from all over the country?
I think maybe so. You think about Pierce Quick, you think about Tyler Love. Maybe so. Maybe they get overlooked, but maybe. Are you saying get overlooked by the fan base or overlooked by the coach?
No. The fan base, like right now, the three guys we're talking about this morning. You look at Pierce Quick, you look at. I think we when we say Pierce Quick, it doesn't have the same ring as J.C. Latham, even though Pierce Quick was a really highly ranked tackle. Randolph, if you were just watching him play from everything, and you put Latham on the back of his shirt, we'd all be excited. But because it's Randolph, and he's been moved around, and he's a little brother, and he's an Alabama kid. I don't know if we as fans get as excited about him being the starting right tackle. Like you see what I'm saying? I don't. Maybe it's me.
Randolph for sure because of the versatility. We've seen him kind of be that inline blocker tight end, and he hasn't really cracked a starting lineup. That inline blocker tight end is kind of a niche role,
Right.
and maybe that gives the Alabama fan base maybe less confidence that he
Right.
can be a full time starter.
Right, and that's what I mean. And maybe it's the whole combination of how he's been used and all that. But when you hear J.C. Latham, or if you were to say Brockemeyer is winning reps and doing that, I think the fan base, at least when I talk to people, they seem to be more excited about the IMG guys or the Texas guys or whatever. And that's always kind of been the case. It's just it's a lot more of those out of state guys now than it was when I was playing and in between my time and now. So I'm pulling for the local Alabama guys, but I want the best player. I'm still one of the type. Whoever the best player is, I want to see out there. And it looks like Randolph is not going to go away easy. And so if he's the guy, that means that he have off some pretty big talent at that position. But then you wonder if he's the starting right tackle, what does that mean for our running game and our inline running game? Uh, can Latu be man enough at the end, or is there someone else we're working to take his role as the inline tight end? Because that was a role that, as you said, he kind of carved out for himself and has been very effective at. So we'll have to wait and see if that's the case with Kendall Randolph, and wishing him nothing but a speedy recovery. Got a couple more takeaways we want to get to. Like to get your takeaway. What have you heard? Of course, you didn't get to see the scrimmage, but from the conversations and sources, what's your takeaway? We'll have that conversation as a continuation on the other side of the break. I want to thank Alabama One. Alabama One .org is where you can go and find out more about all of the great offerings, the vertical services that Alabama One offers, from wealth advisory, financial wellness, seminars, coaching, budgeting, saving. Also, you can find out more about our mortgage department, our insurance department, our consumer and auto loans. And speaking of auto loans, refi, reduce, and ride. Great promotion going on now. 1.99% on the interest rates, as low as based on terms and conditions. 60 days, no pay, and up to $250 cash back. Alabama1.org. Alabama One together.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks as we kick off our Monday morning, and it looks like we'll miss most of that rain from Tropical Storm Fred as it takes a more easterly track. If you see conditions, give us a call. Townsend Nissan is taking care of business with extra rebates and super low finance rates. They need your trade. Go see them.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Scotland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama One, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Are we ready for the 5:30 pickup? Cam's Courier Service's newest hire delivered his resignation.
Hey, Ray, who's handling?
She now needs next day shipping on a new driver.
All these boxes here, are they ingoing or are they outgoing?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast. $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Well, Kendall's done a really good job. I mean, he's a jack of all trades. He can play every position. Center, probably can't play center, but guard, tackle. He's played tight end for us before. He's worked at all those positions in camp. He can play right tackle. He can play left tackle. So, you know, he's got a lot of maturity about him. He's very experienced, knowledgeable player. So, you know, he sprained his ankle today, so that you know, he didn't get to finish the scrimmage, and we hope it's not anything significant, but, you know, he's really a key to the development of this offensive line because of his experience.
That's Coach Nick Saban talking about Kendall Randolph, and you have to believe that the coach isn't just saying it. He's key to the development of this offensive line, and does that mean that he's a spot holder until the young guys catch up, or does that mean that they're able to take some chances with some other guys, knowing that they have a capable backup to put in should those guys not be able to handle their business while he plays the tight end role, and so it allows them maybe early on to experiment with some other guys because of his experience, Joe, and they know that if the J.C. Latham and Pierce Quick and then Kevin Smith also talking about this O-line talent is loaded. Amari Kite is another talented player that hasn't cracked the lineup. Does Kendall Randolph buy you the luxury, Joe, of being able to try other guys while you lock down that tight end blocking position, and you know that if they don't work out with his experience, you can pop him back in for game week and he'll be ready to go. Curtis Lewis, any comments on that? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I think that I hate to say it, but I kind of feel like you touched on it. Maybe he is, one of those guys that can play early while you're developing J.C. Latham or Brockermeyer or somebody behind him. Hopefully, for his sake, he can be more than that. But I think Coach Saban doesn't throw around that phrase lightly.
Right.
The development of the offensive line. I think that he certainly has a role for this team.
Yeah, that's true. And so Curtis Lewis said Randolph won't be the starter at right tackle because he isn't great at it or anything, and his ceiling is low. Curtis Moore II replying to that, saying, Curtis Lewis, that's not what Coach Saban said. Actually, Coach has high praises for him. And so we'll be watching that as a position. There's several other guys that may be in the rotation for that position, and don't assume that the rest of the offensive line won't shift around a little bit. When you hear Saban say the offense has to play better around him, but you hear a lot of good comments about how the running backs played, and you hear a lot of good comments around how the the wide receivers played and the tight ends played. It makes you wonder, was that around Bryce Young referring to that 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 maybe that offensive line is what he's referring to when he says around him and allowing him to make some plays. So don't be surprised if there's not some shuffle within certain parts of the offensive line. Nick Saban, that is one of the positions that he's notorious for moving guys around and getting guys moved around to get the best five. I think offensive line is the hardest position on the field to get to where you want to get to from a unit standpoint, because all five have to play together. So we'll see. I am interested to see if we were to drop Kendall Randolph down to that tight end, is Robbie Oots, the 6'4", 260-pound, humongous body tight end. Is he a guy that can handle that inline blocking, Joe? Because if he does, that gives us a little bit more flexibility in terms of that. And he didn't play bad in the spring, but his name has not been mentioned very much this summer. But why would it be if his role is to be an inline tight end, and we've not been out there? So we will keep our eye on that position and see where Randolph ends up, if he's tight end or back in the line at tackle. And will Oots be the guy, or can Latu handle it? Can he be more than just a receiving weapon? Going back to another takeaway or comments that heard from a guy that you have to be excited for, Joe. Now you just have to hope he stays healthy, and that is Trey Sanders. Coming out, the conversation I heard around him was just how intense the young man plays, and how he goes about his approach. He is, from day one, when he stepped foot on campus, that was what was said about him. When they were in shorts before he got injured, they were talking about, "Oh my God, he just goes so hard." And I'm always a little leery, Joe, when guys look good in shorts. And not trying to be ugly. But I played against guys, and you've seen them and you've heard about them, Joe, where they look like all world when they have shorts on. And that was one of my concerns early on with Trey when his first year. And then I said, well, let's just wait to see how he practices when he puts the pads on. And of course, nothing changed. He was the same intense, aggressive, hard-nosed, warrior mentality, intense type of player. And so that was good to hear. But then, of course, he gets injured early on, almost immediately, when pads started his freshman year. Then last year, he was starting to show a little bit. Still going to be running. He was still running third at the time of the injury, unfortunate car accident. And then your big worry, Joe, is when you have a player that's known as that type of aggressive type player. The question you have when they come back from that the type of injury he had is, will he be physical? Will he be that same type of player? And according to sources, they said that he was just balling. He was going after going after everything. If it was in his area, he went after it. But one of the biggest compliments that was shared, Joe, was that he showed some of that Najee Harris type option in the passing game. And so if Alabama's able to get some of that from not just Brian Robinson, then you definitely have to be excited about that. And so it's good to hear that Trey Sanders had a big scrimmage, and of course, in the 2-minute drill, he was the guy that. This is the part you don't know, Joe, because we're not out there at the whole scrimmage. All we know is in the 2-minute drill, he was the guy that was in. Now, coaching running backs, Joe, let me tell you what I do. I put the best receiver. The starting running back is not the starting with the kids I coach over at Northridge. The starting running back is not the starting 2-minute back. Does that make sense? If we're in a 2-minute drill, the guy who starts the game is not the running back I'm going to run out there. It's going to be technically the second team guy, because he's just a better receiver, better weapon. He can run the ball, but he's also the better screen guy. He's the better spread the guy out, put him in multiple formations from outside, or he's the best guy to place out of the backfield. And with the fact that he caught his touchdown in the 2-minute warning, that may be what we see in Trey Sanders. He may be carving out his niche there in terms of the passing game. So Trey Sanders, a guy that is good to see what he was able to do. And we'll talk a little bit more about him coming back on the other side. We'll also have a couple more takeaways as we enter into the fourth quarter of the Martin Houston Show. The Alabama One Insurance 2-minute warning up next.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks as we kick off our Monday morning, and it looks like we'll miss most of that rain from Tropical Storm Fred as it takes a more easterly track. If you see conditions, give us a call. Townsend Nissan is taking care of business with extra rebates and super low finance rates. They need your trade. Go see them. I'm
Good
Cam
morning.
Ray.
Residents of the Gulf Coast are beginning to experience strong wind gusts, announcing the arrival of Tropical Storm Fred later today. Fred is forecast to strengthen a bit before landfall. The tropical storm winds will be felt as far north in Alabama as Covington County. There will be little to no impact on West Alabama. Perry County District Attorney Michael Jackson reports a home was discovered on fire in Marion around 1 a.m. yesterday. Later, they found a body inside a truck. Foul play is suspected of the death of a woman. I'm Don Hurtley.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you're telling them Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Are we ready for the 5:30 pickup? Cam's Courier Service's newest hire delivered his resignation.
Hey, Ray, who's handling
She now needs next day shipping on a new driver.
all these boxes here? Are they ingoing or are they outgoing?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast. I need Indeed.
Indeed, you do. With Indeed Instant Match, we immediately show you quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed meet your sponsored job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show, the Alabama One Insurance 2-minute warning. Alabama One Insurance review, reduce, and relax. You will be glad to review your coverages, your current insurance policies. It's called a true review. That is of no cost to you, whether you're a current member or not. We'll do it at no cost to you. We'll review your coverages. We'll help you reduce your rates by shopping you with our many carriers and find you the best solution for your insurance needs, and then you'll be able to relax knowing that you're properly covered. So that's Alabama One Insurance, your one source for your insurance needs, all your insurance needs: auto, home, life, commercial, and miscellaneous specialty items as well. Review, reduce, relax. Alabama One Insurance, alabamaoneinsurance.com. All right, as we wrap up this Monday morning edition of the Martin Houston Show, we've hit on several different topics this morning, talking about Bryce Young, and he's unquestionably the guy right now. Don't see that changing, but you have to feel good that there was several good things said in regards to Paul Tyson, as well as Milroe having some flashes. We had talked about, is it possible that Braxton Barker may even work himself into the conversation? I did not hear anything about that coming out of the scrimmage, but doesn't mean it didn't happen. But very, very talented quarterback room right now, and you hope Young stays healthy, but if he doesn't, you want to make sure that we have a capable backup. Then we talked about this offensive line and a lot of conversation around Kendall, Randolph, and whether or not he's a guy, and Curtis Moore and Curtis Lewis having some conversation on Facebook regarding that. And Curtis Moore II said that Coach Saban's words were coach speech. Saban has never said anything but positive things about players, and rightfully so. If Randolph was actually viable for the position, he wouldn't be bouncing around all over the line. And I think Randolph is one of those guys. I don't know that at any point prior to this year that he was the best option at tackle or guard at either position. I know he wasn't. And his best option and best opportunity was that tight end position. I'm just wondering, because Saban specifically mentioned the experience, and listen to the words he said, Joe. He said he is key to the development of this offensive line. And to me, that's why you have to go, okay, let's look at that. What does that mean? Does that mean that they know that he is, if they have to go into the Miami game with him as the starter, do they feel confident that he can play winning football at that position? So that's one option that would be key, which means that they don't have to throw a young guy out there right off the bat and him get destroyed and his confidence get destroyed, etc. That's one option. The other option is that they feel confident because of his experience that they can work him at the tight end position like they've been doing, while also getting him reps at tight end, but yet get J.C. Latham, Pierce Quick, George, one of these other guys, reps with the ones, start building that chemistry. And if they go into the game, Joe, and they're not able to handle their business, they haven't experienced enough guy who can follow in. I think the key word there that he is key to the development of this offensive line, meaning that there's some role that he's playing that's allowing them to either do some things that they normally wouldn't do if they didn't have him, whether that's playing a guy early or holding off on putting a guy in. Either way, so we'll watch that to see what's happening. And then of course our conversation was around Trey Sanders and what he was able to do in the scrimmage. Trey Sanders is a guy that came in with a bunch of hype and a bunch of conversation around him, but due to injury, we've not really got to see a sustained dosage of Trey Sanders. He has all the tools, he has all the weapons, and the part that you can't teach your coach, he seems to have the mindset and the attitude. One article actually called him a warrior. One said that he was balling out. One source said that he's just a playmaker. He just goes at it 100%. And that's what you want in that position. And if you're getting references to being Najee Harris-like, then that can only bode well for you down the stretch, having a touchdown in a 2-minute warning game, 2-minute warning drill time of the scrimmage. And so, that speaks well. In one other article and source said that he was the go-to guy in that drill. So we'll see, and giving them a lot more of what Najee Harris gave. With that said, Curtis Lewis says Trey is your starter. Najee was our 2-minute back and starter. We'll see if Trey is able to not hold on, but make a surge to be the guy. And as we've said numerous times, game one starter very well may be the veteran guy. Nick Saban is big on loyalty to him and back to his players from him. And Brian Robinson has shown that. So I would not be surprised if Brian Robinson is a starter all year. I would not be surprised if Brian Robinson is a starter game one, only to be supplanted at a later time. And I would not be surprised if Trey Sanders is playing the way they reported after one scrimmage, if Trey Sanders ends up being the starter as well. A couple more takeaways that we'll get throughout the week. The defensive line, we have some audio from that we'll play on tomorrow. Defensive line, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever number of guys you had playing there, that is big-time news, because if you can keep those guys fresh and rushing and harassing quarterbacks, then it's only going to help your defense be better. Toa lived up to the hype. The defense played well yesterday, so we'll talk more about that on tomorrow. Tyrion Arnold, a guy who is making noise and catching the eye of Coach Saban because of his athletic ability, so don't be surprised with what he does. And also, Brian Branch spotted at corner. We'll talk about what that means and what that gives Alabama the ability to do if Brian Branch is able to move out and play a little corner. A lot going on the Alabama Crimson Tide. We'll continue to break it down right here on the Martin Houston Show each and every day throughout the day. Love to have your thoughts, your interactions. I appreciate all the callers, the chatters, the viewers, and the listeners. Thank you, Joe, for pushing all the right buttons. We'll be back here tomorrow at the same bat time, same bat channel, Tide 100.9 from 6 to 7 a.m. Stay tuned for more Inside the Locker Room up next. I'm Martin Houston for the Martin Houston Show, the Sound of Alabama Sports, your show, your team. And remember this, trust in the Lord always. Lean not in your own understanding. And all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide, and catch you on tomorrow as we'll bring in DC Capstone Report to join us as well.
listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and
Thank you,
streaming on the
Damon.
Tide
Appreciate it.
100.9.
You too, Joe. Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Tide